So with BC Rich not being at NAMM this year but teasing there's going to be a huge announcement very soon, a lot of people, including myself, has been speculating about what this announcement could be. So I thought that I'd start a new series, and I'd start with one of my favourite companies of all time, BC Rich, and a huge thank you to the guys over on the BC Rich Junkies Facebook group ever giving me suggestions to help me shape this video. It turns out us junkies have a lot of the same thoughts and desires and wishes when it comes to the BC Rich brand. So without further ado, this is the first episode of 5 things, and this is 5 things I'd like to see from BC Rich in 2018. Number 5, build a reputable artist roster. During the peak of BC Rich's popularity, arguably in the 80s and early 90s, some of the world's biggest players were endorsed by BC Rich, or they just played them because they loved the brand. Musicians from bands such as Motley Crue, Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica, Guns N' Roses and Poison, as well as other players such as Lita Ford and even Eric Clapton, all played BC Rich. But in later years, more modern artists such as Mick Thompson from Slipknot, Matt Tuck from Bullet for My Valentine and Jake Pitts from Black Veil Brides have all been BC Rich artists. But these days BC Rich pretty much just have Curry King as an artist. They also have an affiliation with Slash, but he's not an official BC Rich artist because of his obligations with Gibson. It would be great to see an artist roster full of current musicians, some big names to help legitimise BC Rich and help put them back on the map in an industry that's largely forgotten about them. A lot of guitar stores don't even stock BC Rich now, and here in the UK it's even less than in places like America, and I know that if they had a full artist roster of some of the biggest names in rock and metal, that would definitely change. Number 4, add more basses to the lineup. While BC Rich guitars look absolutely badass, and I think you and I will both agree on that one, there's something about them in bass form that looks even cooler. Shapes such as the Mockingbird, the Warlock and the Ironbird all look absolutely amazing as basses. Check out this picture of Nikki Sixx of a Warlock bass. How cool does that look? That looks absolutely awesome. And I think that the BC Rich Warlock bass looks a hell of a lot sweeter than the Warlock guitar, and I'm a big fan of the Warlock guitar. They look great, and there's still a huge demand from players even to this day. On the BC Rich Junkies Facebook page, I often see people either showing off pictures of their BC Rich basses or complaining because they can't find the bass of their dreams. And this is something that I think BC Rich should definitely take note of and should definitely introduce back in their lineup more often. Number 3, bring back more shapes. Since Praxis moved the entire production over to China and released the MK line, and many notable shapes from BC Rich have vanished. The MK lineup pretty much just consists of Mockingbirds and Warlocks with the odd V and Warbeast too. But BC Rich have a whole host of shapes that currently aren't in production, such as the Bitch, the Gunslinger, the Ironbird and the Villain. There are plenty more shapes, but these are generally the more popular shapes amongst fans of BC Rich guitars. BC Rich hit the media once again last year when Slash was seen on stage with Guns N' Roses playing a custom shop Bitch, and it's very surprising that BC Rich didn't capitalise on this and reintroduce it into their brand. Now I love the BC Rich Mockingbird, in fact it's one of my favourite shapes of all time, and my own BC Rich Mockingbird I grab most of the time when I go to play guitar. I own Gibson Les Pauls, I own Schecters, I own a whole host of brands, but I usually grab my Mockingbird because it is just that good. And I also love the Warlock, but if BC Rich wants to get back on top, if they want to legitimise the brand once again and get back some market share, they really need to reintroduce some of these shapes. Number 2, move production away from China. One huge thing that has annoyed many players is that BC Rich is now currently made entirely in China, with exception to the custom shop. The MK series ranges from MK1 to MK11, with the MK11s ranging from between $1,000 and $1,300 in the US and a huge £1,300 to £1,700 here in the UK. Here in the UK you can buy a brand new American made Fender or a brand new American made Gibson Les Paul Traditional for that sort of money. The higher end Chinese BC Riches sell for American made prices, which understandably a lot of people find is not acceptable, especially when there is so many stories of subpar quality and poor craftsmanship in these guitars. If BC Rich successfully revamp their brand and gain back player confidence, they need to reintroduce a production hierarchy. They could have the lower end models made in China like the Bronze series used to be, they could have the mid-range models made in Korea or even Indonesia. I would highly recommend Korea, either a factory like World Music Instruments or a similar one, but I would highly recommend going with something like WMI because the guitars that they make for brands such as Schecter, PRS, Chapman etc. are absolutely fantastic. So working with a company like that would do wonders for the brand. They could also have the upper mid-range maybe made in Japan and then reintroduce an American production line as well for price point to match each of them. If you're paying American made prices, you should be getting an American made guitar or at least an equivalent of it. Companies building in Korea can now charge £1,000 for a guitar, especially ones that come out of World Music Instruments, because the quality is so good. If you look at any of the new Chapman range for 2018, the new Schecter range, a lot of those guitars are over £1,000 price point and they are all made at World Music Instruments, and the quality is there and they can justify that price. So even if BC Rich don't reintroduce an American line, even having your higher end guitars made made by a brand such as World Music Instruments, it will give you the justification to charge that sort of price point that they are currently charging for the upper end Chinese models. And number 1, take the license away from Praxis. If this happens, I know that many BC Rich fans will jump for joy. Now, I'm not saying Praxis are a bad company, in fact they're the complete opposite, but they don't care about the BC Rich brand in the way that they should, and it seems like the BC Rich brand is just another brand on the books for them. But they do some great work. They manufacture and distribute for the Sterling by Music Man line, and as you guys know, especially in 2017, the Sterling line has absolutely stepped up a gear with the John Petrucci models and the St. Vincent. Those guitars are absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people are now heading over to buy Sterlings rather than trying to save up for the Music Mans, which are way out of most people's price points. Now, we all know that Praxis can make great guitars. It just seems that when it comes to the BC Rich brand, they've dropped the ball and then they don't have the passion for it that is needed. And in my opinion, it'd be worth selling off a license to a company that has the passion for BC Rich and wants to bring the brand back to its former glory that we all know it can be. So there we have it. Those are the 5 things that I'd like to see from BC Rich in 2018. Will we see them? Only time will tell. And if we don't, I guess we'll make another video like this later on down the road. Now, once again, I want to give a huge shout out to the BC Rich Junkies Facebook page. That group is absolutely fantastic. They are a host of knowledge when it comes to the BC Rich brand. If you need to know something, someone there has the answer for it. If you like BC Rich guitars, go and join it, get in a discussion and talk BC Rich to your heart's content, because they are more than happy to do that. So I hope you guys enjoy this new series idea. If there's any other brands that you want me to take a look at and make a 5 things video about, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video today, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, you want to see more 5 things videos in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. My name is Doodles, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.